What's up, buckaroos? It's week 10, and we have another episode of Voices. We have a couple contributors this week, and we have 3 weeks in the regular season to go, so I will not cause any further delay. Let's go ahead and jump into the episode. I hope you guys have a good time, and I'll see you in chat. Peace.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite rookie, Bosh, from the Voices of the PLC. There's a couple things I want to talk about this week. Mostly one is a match recap, because I think the match I played with Zach was one where I did a lot of learning. A lot of mistakes were made. Zach did some incredible clean play. And is there a world where I would have won that match? I think yes. But it started before I entered the match. And I think there was a lot of unlucky and maybe not totally thought through targeting that I went through. Not really thinking about his options. And also the burns hurt. Both Dragonite and Rapier got burned. They got burned bad. And I didn't realize that criticals would not go through the burn damage cut. So I had my Dragonite set up, and I want to address this because I don't know how many people know about it, because I had to do a lot of research, and I don't think it's a well-known thing about how critical hits work. So there's actually a couple stages of critical hits, and so once you get to stage 3, you have a 100% critical hit chance. So Ian was talking about if I got a second Dragon Cheer off, but I actually didn't need it, because the Dragon Cheer will raise your critical hit chance, but it'll actually raise it 2 stages if it's used on a dragon. And then you can have an item or a high crit move to get that 3rd stage. So Dragonite had a scope lens. So between the Dragon Cheer and the scope lens, every move that Dragonite did was going to be a crit. But when we locked into crit outrage after the burn and hit that Tyranitar, it wasn't it. It was not doing enough damage. Now, I think there are worlds where like crit dragon builds can do work. You saw in the next game in the stream with Brian that you can deal some damage. You can do it. And this was like one of 3 dragon critical setups that we had in the stream this week. So I'm not going to say it's bad. I am going to say it wasn't my best opener. Especially seeing Sceptile die immediately. But that's play. You play, you learn. If I was to play him again, I'd probably bring a very different strategy. I'm not throwing dragon crits in the toilet. But it might not be my go-to every week, right? The switches in immunity really pulled me back. The switches and immunities stopped my momentum. It got me shook up in the mental game, right? I think each one of these matches, especially when I play against somebody with experience or when I play an important match, I can see myself making questionable decisions under the pressure of the match, which is something I think I have to work on. I think I have to stay level-headed and recognize when I'm getting into that questionable headspace, which is easier said than done. I also want to thank everybody who works on the stream and the Discord and the voices, Jordan, Ian, the moderators, because I think this is a really cool media platform. And I think when I joined the PLC this year, I set the bar a little bit low, if I'm being honest. It sounded like a group of friends getting together to play some Pokemon, and I don't know. I didn't expect it to be as filled out as it is. It sounds like you guys have been doing it for 10 years now, or 9 years, 10 seasons. And that time has added a lot of polish to this, which I think is really cool. The stream feature and the Discord is so robust, and the community has so much engagement. It's very awesome to just be a part of it. So in this run where I have these standings, Last week I was in third, which was huge, maybe a little too huge, because I dropped down to sixth, tied for seventh in 1 week. So the standings are really close where I'm at in the bracket, and a couple wins or losses can sway your position a lot. Now, my goal for the season was to make playoffs, and I think I'm in a pretty good position to do that. Not trying to speak too early, because my last 3 weeks, I have some tough opponents. I play against Dan, who's been just an unstoppable machine this season, and also a Reese, who has a huge reputation. So, SB, I'm coming for you. I'm trying to get another win. But with that, it's been a lot of fun playing, and I just wanted to engage in the voices because I think it's a great platform and just get my voice out there. And I'll see you guys on the trainer field, or whatever you call it. Battlefield? Trainer battle? Pikachu showdown place? Whatever. See ya.
It was said before, this season has been one heck of a roller coaster, and oh boy, if you needed more proof of that, just watch the freaking last week, like the week we just ended. It was week 9, we faced Sukuna, and it was the S-Girls showdown, and oh my god, like, what a wild freaking match. Like, this has probably been the wildest match I've had in my entire PLC career. Maybe that one with Dan still takes it oh wait, not with Dan, with Brendan, where it ended up 0-0, but I still took the win. Maybe that's still the wilder one. But this was definitely the biggest one. Like I ended up taking this one 5-0, and a real 5-0, because again, we don't count that one with Ty 2 seasons ago, because that was not fair, and didn't feel right. But we faced Sukuna, and we took it 5-0, and it was just insane. Like, what's even wilder is that it could have been a 6-0, I think, if a few things had played out right. So what happened was, at one point, that I had Terra Electric on Arcanine with Wild Charge for taking on Primarina. Without it, I didn't feel confident enough that I could take on Primarina, so it needed to be done. And yeah, I took out Primarina, but the thing was that Charizard then came in later on with Sun still up, and it had Heat Wave, and obviously with solar power in Sun, Heat Wave was immensely boosted, and that just meant that it was like, it really hit hard, and it actually ended up not only taking out Arcanine, but a crit. Now, I looked at the calcs after the match, and I was like, did that crit actually matter? Because if it did, that was kind of bad. Now, it turns out that the crit actually did not matter in Sun with solar power. Had the Sun not been there, the crit would have mattered, but the crit did not matter. So, that's what it is. Like, but we take that one 5-0, and now we are looking to the last few weeks, 3 weeks ago in PLC, and we faced Jalen, the other newbie of this season, alongside Bosh. Bosh has been doing really well for himself, and Jalen, like, hasn't, like, been as lucky this season. He's winless, just like Sukuna, and again, I can relate to that because it was how it was in my first season, and it's just not fun. We all do what we can and do our best, but at some point, it's just not enough. Sorry if that sounds insane, but yeah. Fun fact about Jalen's team is that it's actually a bit of a twin fight between him and me, because like, we have a mod in common. We both have Grimmsnarl. Will we see a Grimmsnarl face off? We'll see. But the point is that even if we win this match, I don't think playoffs is a thing for us because there's simply just too many above us that have a better record and a better differential. So I think our season's still over, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see. I did look at the updated standings and I am terrified. But we'll have to see. What happens is, well, yet to be discovered, I guess. But we're looking towards Jalen, and I just hope we can keep our win streak going now, for the rest of the season. Maybe if we can make playoffs by the skin of our teeth. We'll see. This has been Selina, coach of the Area Zero All-Stars, signing off.
All right, y'all. It's week 10. It's week 10. We're here. 3 weeks to go. My favorite time of year. All the battles are ultra critical. If you lose ground. If you win, you gain ground. It's that simple. It's really cool. So the standings. The top 4. Dan, then me, then Brendan, then Jay. Dan is at 8-1. Me, Brendan, and Jay are all at 7-2, which is a pretty good record. So again, I'm kind of happy with where I'm at this year. Currently in that 2 spot. And Dan, props to Dan. Dan has had, I want to say 2 crazy weeks, but I think it might be 3. It might have been 3 crazy weeks. So week 8, Dan beat me. So that was like the battle for first place. He won that. Last week, Dan beat Brendan. He fended off his top spot again. And then this week, Dan has Reese. So it's like, bro, Dan has been fending off that top spot for the longest time. So he's got another. That's some tough battles. Pretty cool, though. So Dan is at the top spot, 8-1. Good stuff, Dan. Everyone else, again, 7-2. And then you have the 6-3 players, Reese, Bosh, and Ty. Those are your 5, 6, and 7 at 6-3. So good stuff, fellas. Then we have 3 players at 5-4, Brian, Zach, and Corey. Still a good record to this point in the season. And then we have the players making up the last of the playoff spots at 4-5. We have 5 players, actually. Ian and Mike are currently in the 11-12 spot. They have the plus-minus that would get them into playoffs right now. And then on the outside looking in, you have Speakman, SB, and Justin all at 4-5 as well. So we have 5 players, essentially 2 playoff spots at this moment. And it's going to be really, I was there last year, and I didn't make it. So I think it was actually 3 weeks to go, and I had a forfeit. Then I lost to Phil. Then I lost to Brian to end my season. So it was unfortunate, but yeah, I know how it feels to be in that in that final spot, fighting for your life. So it's cool to see, 5 players. Not cool to see, but it is cool to see. It's not necessarily a fun spot to be in, but it's cool knowing that, if you win, you give yourself a little breathing room, and then if you lose, it's like, all right, I got 2 weeks to go, and then next week you win, a little breathing room, you lose, 1 week to go, so it's fun. Then we have 2 players at 3 and 6, not dead yet, Selina and Jay Wade, both 3 and 6. A win puts them right in that, 4 and 6 conversation. 2 wins, at 5 wins, you're feeling pretty good. And then 3 wins, if you win out and finish the season 6 and 6, that's a really good spot to be in. So, and that'd be awesome. I'd love to see, those players do that. So, and then Phil, the lone player at 2 and 7. Phil, we were talking about this in general earlier. He has to basically, not win out. If he wins 2, it's possible. If he was to lose, it makes it a lot harder. But if he goes 3-0 over the next 3 weeks, there's definitely a possibility that he could make playoffs. There's a couple matches in front of him that, we need to see how those play out, but it's possible. So technically not dead, but highly unlikely at 2 and 7. And then Sakuna and Jalen at 0 and 9. I actually play Sakuna this week, and Sakuna's job is basically at this point just to play spoiler. If she comes up with a big win, this week, next week, or week 12, that's a big win for her, because she spoiled someone's opportunity to either jump into the playoffs or jump into the top 4 or something like that. So here comes the baby. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Stinky. All right, she's going to chill right here. She has her iPad, and I'm going to turn it down real fast. Can I see that? You can still watch it. There you go. You can watch that right there, okay? All right, she's going to watch that for a second while I finish up. But yeah, I mean, that's the standings. So, again, this is a fun time of year. It's my favorite time of year for sure. With 3 weeks to go, every battle is super important. And I am excited to see, what the standings look like next week. And then the week after. And then the last week of the season, what moves can still be made. Who can jump, who can fall from their spot. All that thing is exciting to me. Or all of those things are exciting to me. So, yeah. It's going to be awesome to see how these next 3 weeks play out. And then the schedule, so week 10, Bosh and SB. SB is currently out of playoffs on the outside looking in. A win for him would be big. Bosh, I think, can still get into the top 4. He's having a really good year still. Mike and Speakman, both of those players are 4 and 5, so a win there is going to be critical. And one of them is going to get it, so that's going to be an interesting match to keep an eye on. Brian and Ian, I think Brian is still alive for that top 4 spot. Depends on what happens, to the players above him. Ian currently at 4 and 5, so he'll be looking for a dub. Because again, you definitely want to, climb up a little bit, give yourself a little bit of breathing room. And then Jay and Justin, always get Justin and Jalen mixed up. Justin has 4 wins. Okay, so he's in the 4 and 5 as well. Same spot as Ian, get a little breathing room. Jay currently in the top 4, and he wants to stay there. I know. He wants to stay there to get that bye week. I think that's pretty important to him. I mean, that's important to everyone. It's important to me as well. Gets you that much closer to a championship. So that's why I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can stay there. Jay, I know he wants that week to catch up, take a breath, and that's what he's looking for that top 4 spot for. All right, I play Sakuna. So again, Sakuna's playing spoiler at this point. I want to stay in the top 4, so that's my motivation going into this week. And hers is... again, to play spoiler. Corey and Jay Wade. So Corey is at 5 and 4, I believe. I think he's technically still alive for the top 4. And a win here would be big. Jay Wade, I think he's 3 and 6. So a win would get him closer to the playoffs. Aris and Dan. So again, Dan has to fight for his number 1. Actually, I mean, I guess it's technically defending his number 1 spot, because if he loses, I'm kind of on his heels. So if I win, Dan loses, I could potentially jump him into number 1. So he has to basically fight off Aris for the number 1 spot again. If I lose, or if Jay and Brendan, if they win, there's, I'm sure, plus minus that comes into play too. So Dan is fending off number 1 for the 3rd week in a row. That's got to be stressful. But I know Dan's having a good year, so he's doing his thing. Jalen and Selina. So again, let me just jump to the standings real quick. Jalen and Justin, I was getting mixed up. Jalen's 0 and 9, playing spoiler. Selina at 3 and 6, I believe. Let me just double check. Correct. Selena's at 3 and 6. A win there would keep Selina alive for the playoffs. Jalen has the opportunity to play spoiler in that matchup. Brendan and Phil. So Phil, again, he's technically still alive at 2 and 7. It's going to be tough, but a win would be necessary. I don't want to say necessary, but I'm going to say necessary. And then Brendan trying to stay alive in that top 4 still. So that's, again, his motivation. And then Zach and Ty, they're both having a good year. I think they're both 5 and 4. No, Ty's 6 and 3. Zach is 5 and 4. So I suppose they're technically still alive for the top 4. And a win would get them closer to that. So I'm sure both of them are gunning for it. So those are your matchups for the week. Good stuff. That's all for my Week 10 Voices portion, and I will see you guys in chat. Peace.